Welcome back to Rockstar. Nope, that's not it. Let's try again.
No, we're just going. No.
It's fucking History of Rock. His name is Brandon. He's the DJ.
His name is Shim. He is the rock star. Greatest intro ever. So we're talking about Lollapalooza.
Is class in session?
It's not in yet.
What?
I haven't started the
class. Is in session.
But I haven't started it yet.
You got to say the...
I was going to say it right after I said we're going to be talking about Lollapalooza, thanks to anybody who stuck out that last encore.
Okay, all right. You know what? Okay.
Because I kept it going a lot longer
Welcome
than
back
Shim
to
really
the History of
wanted
Rock. His name is Brandon. He's the DJ.
His name is Shim. He's a rock star. Classic.
Fucking bitch.
Well, I mean, no, because it was coming up. I was going to say
Just do the intro.
No.
Just do the intro.
No, I got to mix it up.
Okay.
Anyway, so we are talking about Lollapalooza, but thank you to anybody who tuned into the entirety of the last encore, because when it started, Shim and I were kind of like, oh, what are we going to talk about? Because we really didn't have any idea. There's usually some sort of a conversation that sparks an encore, but like I was mentioning at the end of it, it was like anything that I would want to talk about right now is going to be related to Lollapalooza, and then it's just going to ruin the next episode. So that's kind of why that encore was a little bit different. But now, class is in session because we're going to get right to Lollapalooza. It's on you. We're talking about year 2.
All right. By the second year of the festival, things already started to drastically change. It was organized in a different way, included more bands that had achieved commercial success. MTV's Kurt Loder or Loder? Kurt Loder.
Oh, Kurt Loder. You messed that name up.
Kurt Loder. I don't fucking know. Kurt Loder. This is why you tune in to History of Rock, because Kurt Loder don't mean shit in Australia. Kurt Louder. Anyway, Kurt Loder noted.
TV news guy.
Yeah, by 1992, the music that had once been trumpeted as alternative was quickly becoming mainstream, and the second Lollapalooza reflected that shift. All right, let's get into it.
And again, that's kind of like I've said, Lollapalooza mirrored the 90s in a lot, not just the rock aspect, but in a lot of different aspects, culturally, politically, and all of that stuff. And I had a list. I thought about it as I was kind of mapping out this podcast, and I didn't want to sit there and just be like, so 1992, your headliners were, and then like just list off all the bands. But in 1992, It got to the point where you had, on the main stage, it was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ice Cube, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and we're going to get to some more stuff as well, because technically Rage Against the Machine and Tool started on the side stage.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
And
okay. All right, so keep
this
going.
is other cool stuff, man, especially if you're watching here on YouTube. Again, by the way, make sure you guys are clicking like, please. I'll beg you. Yeah. Click like down below if you're here on YouTube. If you're here on Spotify, Apple, or Google, go to my YouTube channel, not Shim's, at The Real Brandalorian, right here. All you got to do.
And what's the name of mine?
Right there, at The Real Brandalorian.
By the way, we need to sort that out. That's the other thing we got to sort out. We shouldn't be posting this twice. We should be posting it once and sharing it, but we got to deal with that.
Shim's YouTube channel is go to The Real Brandalorian. And by the way,
click the like and click
like and subscribe, all that stuff down below.
Do the dance.
But the other thing too was, don't forget, as I showed the stickers here, go to vivalamocha.com. That's where the merchandise is as well. But anyway, so by 92, those were your headliners. Rage Against the Machine and Tool, they started on the side stage, but we're going to get to more of that later on. And then as you progressed on down the road, you had like Alice in Chains. They were one of the headliners for 1993. Smashing Pumpkins and the Beastie Boys were 1994. So you definitely see this kind of shift as things were moving, even into just the second year of Lollapalooza. And by this time, mosh pits, crowd surfing, that was like canon for the concerts. Like that was something that had to be done. And in the early years, you saw increases in the participatory nature of the events, from the inclusion of booths for like open mic readings and television smashing pits and tattoo and piercing parlors. There was one, I can't remember what year it was, but it was one of the MTV clips I was watching, and it was just this, it was called like a percussion something, and it was just, they had these like mallets and drumsticks.
Drums,
and it was
the drum circle.
No, because it was like this art structure that was just like, had like metal pieces hanging down, and you would bang on it, and it was just people making noise. And it was to get people to like just bang on stuff, I guess.
It sounds like a mental asylum.
It sounds like it too when you actually go listen to it.
Do you want to? Did I ever tell you about the first time I went crowd surfing?
I don't think so.
Okay. First time I ever went crowd surfing was at a concert, and for all the Aussies in the house, it was in Sydney. It was called Grudge Fest. Grudge Fest.
Hey, a fest. Look at that.
Fest. Yeah, it was called Grudge Fest. And Bush was headlining. It had Bush, Veruca Salt, and Grinspoon, which was a big Australian band at the time. And I was in heaven. It was my first real show, right? I think I was like 13 or 14. And it was the first time I'd seen crowds. Because shows outside of Big Day Out didn't have large crowds. Like you'd have maybe a few hundred people, but in terms of like being able to go crowd surfing. So I saw people doing crowd surfing and I was like, and I saw a guy next to me and he tapped someone on the shoulder and he said, dude, put me up. And the guy got his hands like this, went down so that the guy could put his foot in there and he went and shut him up. I'd never seen it before. And I was like, oh my God, that's how they do it. So I just tapped on the same guy and I was like, dude, put me up. And he did it. And I went flying and I started crowd surfing. I must have gone crowd surfing 10 times in the space of 10 fucking minutes. I went over to all the way to the front of the stage to the barrier, down, back around, tap,
and
tap.
right back
dude,
up.
Put me up. Dude, put me up. Dude, put me up. Tap, tap. Until I'm drenched in sweat, in my sweat and everyone else's sweat. And I'm wearing these jeans. And they're not shorts, they're full-length jeans. So I realize, there's this dude, and I'm looking around and I can't find a guy. So I just tap the nearest guy next to me, and this guy turns around. I'm like, hey, dude, put me up. And the guy turns around, he does this. He whips his head around and he goes, yeah, dude, sure. Okay, dude, sure. And he's fucking stoned out of his mind. And he just like, he does this with his hair and he gets ready to put his hands like that. So he does this with his hair, and I do a 1-2, right? Check this out. 1-2 with my knee, and I'm like, fuck, my jeans are stuck to my pants. I'm drenched in sweat. So while he's coming down, I just went yank and thrust my knee up as hard as I could so that I was ready for his hand. I kneed him directly in the face as hard as I could, and all I saw was this surfer dude's hair snap back like a shotgun blast to the face. He literally went down, and then the next thing I saw was goosh. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But he was so high that he just I could see him seeing stars. And then he kind of came out and he was like, damn, dude. Fuck. And he just kind of trailed off. and then he went back. But the funny thing is, he didn't leave to get medical attention. He just went back to the crowd. He just went back to his spot in the crowd and was like, yeah.
He just wanted to get the fuck away from you and your knee.
Yeah, but I remember really thinking I'd fucking hurt him. And he just, and I was like, I'm waiting for something. He's going to punch me in the face, or he's going to go, oh, take me to a hospital or whatever. Because I thought I busted his face. I must have copped him right here instead of the nose.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you got him here, it would have been blood everywhere.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah, no, but I got him right there and he was just seeing stars. And he was like, fuck, dude. It's all right. And he just kind of trailed off. But I remember then literally the next moment, what do you think I did? Tap the next guy. Dude,
yeah, I was going to say, and then you went right the hell back up. Just made sure your pants were ready this time before busting some other dude's face. Okay, I have two stories before we get to Lollapalooza now because you said reminded me of some things. First one is including Bush, because you're talking about how Bush was the headliner of that show. I wasn't around on the morning show at this time. This was, I think, the year before I started, and Bush was headlining Street Fest, another fest here in El Paso. And I guess so. Buzz, the host of the morning show, essentially got everybody banned from a certain area of backstage because he pissed off Gavin Rossdale. Because word got to Gavin Rossdale that Buzz talking about, because at the time Gavin was still with Gwen Stefani. And Buzz had made the comment about how Gwen Stefani is an incredibly hot girl, especially for a girl with small boobs.
Oh, Jesus.
And I guess Gavin Rossdale did not take very kindly to that. So it essentially banned everybody. Because I remember even like people who were still around at the station when I was working there at the time, they were like, yeah, like we were pissed. Because like, there were specific areas we were not allowed to go, all because he had to make that stupid-ass comment on the air. Which you got to admit, it's kind of funny the way that it all worked out.
It is kind of funny. What, because they're not together anymore?
No, because...
Or because...
for what happened to Buzz and the rest of the crew, how they weren't allowed.
Yeah. I mean, I'd do this. I'm sorry, but I would literally do the same thing. If someone came to me and was like, hey, the guys from the station, they talk shit on your girl. And I go, what did they say? Check it out. Listen to that and go, man, fuck that guy. Don't bring that guy anywhere fucking near me. And I'd be like, you wouldn't. And it's funny. People might think like, oh, Gavin Rossdale's. And I'm like, what would you do if you hear someone publicly talks about your girl's tits in a disrespectful way? You're lucky you didn't get knocked the fuck out, or at least no, you're not welcome in the show. Bounce.
Well,
like instead it was like, just don't come near me. That's actually, ironically, that's more of a gentleman move. To say, just stay in your fucking area.
Yeah, just keep him away.
Just bounce. Just like I don't want to deal with the drama. I'm not gonna fucking call you up, because whatever. But like,
well,
seriously.
But remember, Gavin also seems like a really peaceful dude because to him everything is zen. So he's like nice and chill.
Isn't that I like what you did there. See, yeah,
there you got it. Just came up with that off the top of my head. Okay, story number 2, crowd surfing. I think I told this story on Rockstar 101, so I apologize for anybody who's hearing it for the second time. But I've never crowd surfed because it terrifies the hell out of me because I don't want people touching me. Like, not a chance in hell. And but there was one concert I was at. It was Deftones, Incubus, and Taproot. And it was myself, my buddies Travis and Lou, who were all fairly decent-sized guys, about 6 foot, 180 to 200 pounds apiece. And as we're on the floor, this girl comes up to us. She's a tiny girl. She's like 5'2", 5'3", little skinny girl. And she was like, will you guys throw me up into the crowd? And we're like, yeah, sure. So, each one of them gets on one side, and I'm behind her. We kind of grab her by her pants, like the waist of her jeans. And we're like, 1, 2, 3. And all 3 of us just hurled the shit out of this girl. And she's flying over the crowd. But as she's going over, all of a sudden, she turns, and so she so she's on her back. Nobody catches her. We threw her over about 4 rows of people in front of us, and so we see her like, and then she just disappeared. And we were like, oh shit. So then all the people in front of us immediately turn around, and they're like giving us the stink eye, and we were like, what? Like, she wanted to go up. Not even 2 seconds after she like disappeared into the crowd, she's bouncing around. She was perfectly fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with her. So that's
she's lucky she didn't do it with a guitar. I've done it with I used to do it, and I think it was the whole second half of the band's run. Once I got up the nerve, I would jump in the crowd with the guitar on the last song.
That's bold because you're not a small dude.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't bold for me. It was more like, I should have considered the people I was landing on.
Well, that's why I think it's bold, because if people if you were flying at me, I'm like, away.
Yeah, no, people would catch me. But they didn't have much choice. I would do it at big festivals where they couldn't get out of the way in time.
I was gonna say, are they catching you or deflecting you?
I would say, put your hands up, and then I would do this thing where because I wouldn't be on the mic. I'd have the guitar and I'd go to the center of the stage, and I would go like, yeah, rock and roll, yeah, put your hands up, and they'll go, yeah, and then I'll go like this. And so I'd be like, I'm coming over there. And then their hands would suddenly go from this to this.
Like, no. So anybody who's tuning in on Apple or Google right now that doesn't have video. So Shim was essentially saying he would signal to them like, I'm going to jump on you. And the hands would go from being still, like hands up to like,
no waving a slow motion wave away. Yeah. But I'd still jump. But, you get what you give. Because there was several times when I got dropped, and it's part and parcel. I dived in, and sometimes I ate shit. Sometimes I would just eat the pavement as hard as you can. Imagine jumping off a stage and just landing directly on your head and shoulders and fucking upper body.
Your head, just shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Yeah,
knees and toes. So it was bad, but it was fun, and that's what you get.
Before we get to the next one here, would you still do it? Like, in your old age now, you still gonna
fuck off? Fucking call me old. I'm more built now than I was then. Fucking A, I do it. It's awesome fun.
Fucking A, right? It's right.
It's awesome. Fucking A, right? Well, what about injuring the poor defenseless members of they know what they signed up for? Fuck them. I'm coming in.
All right, I tell you what.
Coming in.
If you and I are like, see, I don't think it could happen at Rage Against the Machine, but if there's ever a place where I will crowd surf with you the first time.
Oh, yes, you will.
I've never done it. That
is going to be a clip right there. You're going on record that if I crowd surf, you will come with me. We'll do it together for the first time.
It depends on the elements and if I can have somebody take my shit out of my pockets.
Oh, for Christ's sake, you're such a...
Why would I want somebody being able to get into my pockets?
You just leave your shit in the car. You don't take shit with your pockets. You take a fucking $50 bill and you take your ticket to the show and leave everything else in the car.
That's iffy.
That's what you do at a show. You don't take your wallet and your phone into the show.
All right, maybe we'll make it happen at Rage Against the Machine. Anybody who's going to be in the Las Cruces show, maybe Shim and I will just jump on your heads.
We'll ask someone else to film it because someone's got to film it.
Yeah, somebody's got to have actual footage of it. Yeah. Otherwise, it didn't happen. Yeah. So anyway, back to Lollapalooza here.
Hold on, I'm going to make a note of that. That's a clip as well. All right. Is it me now?
Yeah. After 1991.
Okay. All right. After 91, they included a second side stage, and by 96, included a third for up-and-coming acts. I like that. Some notable acts that performed on the side stages early on were Cypress Hill, House of Pain, and Stone Temple Pilots.
92.
Fuck yes.
So those were the
acts. Everyone, you're totally right. Everyone came out of Lollapalooza. This was a pivotal thing. I didn't know it was that significant. I thought that bands they'd already cut their teeth, but Lollapalooza really helped break a lot of these bands.
I think in having that kind of second side stage was kind of a big deal in being able to incorporate that as well. But it didn't take long for concert goers to complain about the ticket prices and the high cost of food and the water at the shows. In Wisconsin and Illinois, concert goers actually ripped up chunks of the grass and sod, ended up throwing them at each other and the bands, causing tens of thousands of dollars in damages to those venues.
Good. That's how it should be. No sympathy, none.
All right, mate.
Deal with it. In 93, Lollapalooza was taking heat for being too commercial. Oh no, people started to become successful, made money, and then wanted to continue doing so. Didn't see that coming. Lollapalooza was taking heat for being too commercial. The recording engineer, guitarist, and journalist Steve Albini commented, Lollapalooza is the worst example of corporate encroachment into what is supposed to be the underground. It is just a large-scale marketing of bands that pretend to be alternative, but are in reality just another facet of the mass cultural exploitation scheme. Tell it like it is, Steve. I have no appreciation or affection for those bands, and I have no interest in that whole cliche. If Lollapalooza had Jesus Lizard and the Melvins and Fugazi and Slint, then you could make a case that it was actually people on the vanguard of music. What it really is the most popular bands on MTV that are not heavy metal. So what?
The final part of that quote is spot on. Where it's it's the most popular bands on MTV that are not heavy metal. Because again, that's going to get into where we talk about Ozfest essentially being spawned from Lollapalooza.
Well, was he just to be clear? Was he saying that out of some spite that there was not heavier bands on Lollapalooza?
No, I think it was really just I think it was because Lollapalooza started out. This is alternative, and again, this is mirroring the '90s. Alternative in the '80s was truly alternative. You didn't until you had REM and Jane's Addiction and bands like that finally starting to kind of sell records and get recognition. Alternative was alternative. That's kind of the definition of the term. It's not the mainstream. I remember I mentioned this on an earlier episode when we were talking about the first radio station that I interned for, which was KNRQ. It was alternative. Like it was the new rock alternative was kind of the call sign or the slogan. And one of the stickers that they had made up was, can it really be that alternative if that many people are listening to it, or something to that effect? And I'm like that's a point. And this is kind of what he's talking about, is how this, you can't call this alternative anymore. And there's a quote from Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes that we're going to get to as well here, where it's truly after that first year, all of a sudden everybody was like, we can't call this alternative. We're getting
but is that the only problem? Here's the thing. Okay, let's get real for this, because this is an important distinction. If would all of these people have been happy if they changed the name? If they'd said Lollapalooza, a pop music festival, would they suddenly have all shut their fucking mouth? Or what's the problem? The problem is alternative music was awesome and lots of people started liking it. So Lollapalooza helped to break the entire scene wide open, and then gets criticized because the music of the scene becomes so good that it's really popular. And then people from back in the day, what the fuck are they taking away from you? What have you lost? What have you lost? You're not in the cool club anymore? Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but this is the shit that bugged me in high school. because I'm like, what is your problem? Either you like it and then you support it as it grows into whatever it becomes. And if you don't, if you go, well, so what? You want it to stay down in the trenches where you fucking live? So you're pissed off because now you feel left behind.
I think there's I think there's a lot of people that have that feeling. And I remember this specifically, like being a Korn fan from the first album. And then all of a sudden by like 98, 99, they're on TRL. I remember watching them on TRL and seeing all these Korn fans, and I'm like, these motherfuckers don't know Korn. You just bought the latest album, and it upset me because it was like I've been diehard since the first album with these guys, man.
Yes.
And I remember there was, God, it's really weird reference coming from me, but I think it was the school newspaper of the college that I went to get my radio degree, and this girl had written an article about Sleater Kinney. Have you ever heard of Sleater Kinney?
Nope.
You know Portlandia, right? The TV
Yes.
show? So the lady from Portlandia, I believe she was from Sleater Kinney. So it was a band out of Washington, and they had this really big underground following, and I thought it was a brilliantly written article because it starts out where she's talking about how this is my band. I've been with Sleater Kinney since the beginning, and I was the one that was going to these shitty club shows when there was like 5 people there, and this is the group that I have grown with. And then all of a sudden she goes to this show where Sleater Kinney has sold out this pretty big venue, and she sees like the frat guys there and people who in general would have never given Sleater Kinney the time of day until they kind of signed a bigger deal. And it upset her because it was like, why are these guys here? This is my band. And I thought it was just such a good article because I was like, I've had those feelings about things too, where if it's something that you started with and then all of a sudden it grows into something bigger, there's a part of you that doesn't want it to grow big because that means that it's outgrown you. It's outgrown that connection
what if you
that
grow
you originally
with it?
had. No, but see, and that's what I'm saying is that should be the way that it works, is that especially if something gets bigger and it gets more eyes or it gets more ears, you should be able to see it that way as I'm growing with this band and I'm still a part of it, and then be welcoming of people who are then coming in at that point as opposed to shunning people who maybe have just been turned on to it.
This makes a very, and I want to take a second to point this out because this is so important. This is so important for people who make music and for people who listen to music. People think that music it's wishful thinking, right? People think music is a certain way. When they say, I love this band and I love this artist, I just want them to be successful. I love this artist. Most of the time, truth is you don't. Because when they become successful, you have that emotional reaction. And the truth is, the only thing you should really care about is, well, did they change themselves and their music? If they change the music and then they're not making good music anymore, or they're making some random genre that they've gone into because it appeals to the masses. But if they're doing the same thing, it shouldn't matter. So the irony is, instead of saying, I love that band, what you really mean is, I love the way that band makes me feel. I love the way this music makes me feel. And so when you put more people in the club, suddenly it changes how you feel. It's not the band's fault. The band's doing exactly what they said they set out to do. And you're saying, well, I feel differently now. So it's none of the band's business. But you say the band's changed or the scene's changed. No, your feeling has changed because you had a deep emotional relationship with the experience within that music. You didn't have an experience with the band. You had an experience with the music that the band created. And they're two separate things. The problem is you can't project yourself onto air because that's where music lives. So you project yourself onto the band and then you go, fucking, they changed or things are different and all this stuff. And the bottom line is, the point that I'm making is, it's your fault. People who are listening to music that blame the band and go, they've changed, things have changed, this or that has changed. No, your experience changed because fucking life changes and things happen. So every time someone comes up and says, man, you're not as good as you used to be, I'm like, I've told people so many times, dude, and don't get me wrong, when Connect was released, it was not as good as Tripolar. Real talk. That's the truth. It just wasn't as good. Tripolar was a great fucking album. Connect was half a great album that was going with a band that was in the process of basically breaking up. But when people came up and said, "You've changed, you suck, this is fucked, I can't believe you did this," I'm like, go and listen to Tripolar. It's right there. It's right there. Go and enjoy your fucking experience. Don't put your shit on me because my band's fallen apart and we still had to make a record. And so it used to hit a nerve with me where I was like, is this my fault? And I had to psychoanalyze the whole thing and go, no, I'm going through my experience. They're going through a separate experience. And the only thing that we share is this sound. So use the sound for what it's for and don't put your shit on the people that make it. That's my rant.
I don't know why this is the band that popped up into my brain, but it's probably because the band really changed their sound and ended up with a very successful album. And then it was after the fact when people were like, "Oh, actually, their early stuff was pretty fucking metal." Can you think of what I might
Which
be thinking
band? You're talking Metallica?
No.
Bring Me the Horizon.
Sugar
A lot of
Ray.
bands do this.
Sugar Ray. Because remember, their earlier stuff was pretty metal. And then all of a sudden they had, "I Just Wanna Fly." That music fucking changed. Now, I don't know how many diehard Sugar Ray fans there are out there before the beginning of that, but like that's the definition kind of they changed for mass popularity.
And you know what?
And then Mark McGrath ended up going and getting fucking tons of plastic surgery, and now he's on like Entertainment Tonight or whatever the hell it is.
Korn is a good example of a band that was like, they sounded like Korn and they sounded like Korn. Then they got super duper popular. Why? Because they sounded like Korn. And then they had this massive run and they just slowly started to kind of they went down. Like they weren't on the top 20 anymore. Because music changed. But Korn never fucking changed. The one thing you can say about Korn is they sound exactly like, the only difference in the sound from now versus 25 years ago
better recording
is the band is they've got better producers, they put more money into the records, and they're a better band. They play better, but they haven't changed their music at all. And of all the bands in the world that could have been like, we're Korn, we've already gotten to the top of the mountain, we created new metal, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want. They could go to string sections, they could go to fucking, they could do whatever they want.
They did the acoustic album.
Yeah, they did the usual stuff. They went with dubstep for a record, but they never don't
love
sound
that
like
album,
Korn.
by the way.
Yeah, that album is fucking dope. So I think the point that I'm coming back to is I think that's one of the reasons that Korn fans are so great. They're like, I just fucking love Korn because Korn didn't go changing on them. Korn got successful and Korn fans were like, fuck yeah, more people in the pit. No one gave a shit because Korn didn't change. And there are some other bands where it's like if Tool, Jesus Christ, if Tool ever changed a note, there would be rioting in the streets.
And that's a perfect transition right here as we're going into Tool here all the way back in 1993 for Lollapalooza. That was a good little
I did that for you, Brandon. Yeah.
So they started on the second stage, but they began drawing such a large crowd, they got moved to the main stage. And I haven't been able to confirm this either, but I think Rage Against the Machine was also on the second stage to begin with, got moved to the main stage. So your main stage, opening act, it went from Rage Against the Machine into Tool in 1993. So stop and think about how fucking nuts that would have been back then.
I got chills. I literally got chills.
Because let me see here. So 93, so that was a year, your main stage, you had Alice in Chains, Primus, Dinosaur Jr., Fishbone, Arrested Development, Front 242, and Babes in Toyland.
Oh, Babes in Toyland. I remember them.
Yeah.
So going back to Nirvana. Nirvana was scheduled to headline the tour in 94, reportedly being offered $10 million to do it. My God. $10 million for one fucking run. Cobain apparently turned it down and the band officially dropped out on April 7. Cobain's body was discovered the next day. Oh, he dropped out on April 7, 94. Fuck me.
Yeah,
That's a
so
bit intense.
Eventually what happened that year on the tour was Courtney Love, she would pop up and make guest appearances throughout several shows of that year, and she was usually given time by Smashing Pumpkins' Billy Corgan. And she would speak about the loss of Cobain and then generally perform at least 2 songs. Because if I remember correctly, I think Billy Corgan produced the whole album. Not like WHOLE, like the entire album. Like her band Hole. I think he was one of the producers on that album, because we've discussed this before, and it's something that we're going to have to get to when we're talking about Smashing Pumpkins.
We've got to do a whole episode on Kurt and Courtney, man.
Well, we got to do a whole episode on just Billy Corgan. Like, do a couple episodes on him, because of how influential he was in the 90s in regards to this. Because remember, he's also one of those bands, like with Smashing Pumpkins, where they got lumped in with alternative, lumped in with grunge, but they weren't grunge; they were just alternative, and it's all that kind of semantics when it comes to what term you're going to use. But yeah, so she would pop up on stage and perform a couple of songs.
I'm sorry to hear that. In 94, some of the acts, including Green Day and Cypress Hill, skipped at least one Lollapalooza date in order to play Woodstock 94. And we will be covering Woodstock. We'll probably do 2 episodes. We'll do Woodstock 94 and then correlate it to 99. And we'll make that a whole thing, because that's going to be fun. We should probably do that right after this, because that comes up a lot. Keeps coming up a lot.
Yeah, we could easily do. I mean, it's, again, the history of rock, it started because when Rockstar 101, we were doing, we had started to do albums where we did Alice in Chains, we did Facelift, we also did AC/DC's Razor's Edge, I think it was. Right. And so that's kind of what spawned the history of rock. But now rock is more than just the album. So now we're talking about the festivals. We're gonna do a major dive into Ozfest as well. Like, that's definitely gonna be something that we're gonna be getting into here. But speaking of Green Day, who bounced out in order to do Woodstock, they were actually removed from the stage at their performance at Walnut Creek Amphitheater in Raleigh, North Carolina, because they encouraged the general admission audience members to rush the stage and overwhelm the reserved seating area. So it's not back-to-back episodes, but if you remember back a few episodes with Mudhoney, when they were over in England, they had was it called the Friendly Riot, I think is what they dubbed it?
I think so. Yeah,
something like that. And it was where Mark Arm was like, yeah, everybody come on up here on stage, and they did, and the stage collapsed.
Yep. Yeah, that's what'll happen. Fucking A. How much time we got?
We got a few more minutes, and then we'll call it good.
Cool. So, no, you just did that one. Okay, so here we go. We're going back into it. After a few years of the tour, the alternative aspect had become harder to define because the point of alternative is that it's not mainstream. A lot of the bands were now touring with Lollapalooza, were selling a lot of albums, and were now mainstream. Pharrell once said he pictures alternative as an alternative frame of mind. People that are into peace, science, music, and art. I'm inclined to agree. Well, the irony is that what you're talking about, we want to promote a concept of like people that are into peace, science. It's the kind of like a 60s revolution vibe, except that it is so commercialized that all you're doing is selling peace, music, and art. Yeah. And you're the curator of it. It's a commercial product. This is the thing that if you just called it a commercial product, people would probably have a lot less to say. But it's just, it was so popular that it became a popular commercial product. The ticket, the curation of all the things that were in there, all the bands. You didn't put non-commercial, unsuccessful bands on Lollapalooza. Why wouldn't you do that? Because then no one comes. And it's not Lollapalooza. So fucking pick your fucking battles. You know what I mean? This is the shit that pisses me off, man. Go.
I think it's too difficult. I think it's too difficult for people. So I want to put a pin in that comment too, where he's talking about the alternative frame of mind being people that are into peace, science, music, and art, because this is going to pop back up when we're talking about that Simpsons episode, Homer Palooza. And more importantly, the peace aspect of things, and it's. Again, as I've been doing the research for these episodes, and I'm seeing sort of the people that were at Lollapalooza, the people that made it what it was, and then where we are today with cancel culture and the liberal movement of certain things, and how it's kind of almost gotten turned. And not to get political here on the podcast, because we're here to talk music, but how some of that stuff has kind of been turned on its head, because now all of a sudden it's the liberals who are crying about cancellation and free speech, and like it's all flip-flopped, and it all relates to the people who were at Lollapalooza, and we'll definitely get to that coming up here in the next episode. But the final point that we're going to be talking about right now, and this goes into the whole thing that Shim was talking about, where just basically shut the fuck up and take your money. So Chris Robinson of the Black Crowes, he summed it up perfectly. He said, quote, "Independent music, does it even exist anymore? I mean, in an age where you can call something alternative that sells 5 million copies, just wrap it up in a different wrapper and stick a price tag on it, unquote.
Yeah.
And then he went on to talk about, I think somebody then added, they're like, well, why are you here? Because he was performing, he's making a bunch of money being on Lollapalooza. And he was like, yeah, I like the money. He admitted it.
You know what the funny thing is? This is the thing that bugs me. If you're honest and transparent from the beginning, no one can say anything.
Well, and that kind of reminds me of when we were discussing originally Green River that split into Mudhoney and Pearl Jam, is that you had Mark Arm, who he wanted to continue to be an alternative band in the sense of, we don't want to sell out arena shows. We don't need to make a ton of money. I'm just here to play the music. And then you had the guys like Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard, who they were in music because they wanted to make a real big lifestyle out of it. They wanted to play the arena shows. And neither side is right in either aspect of it. Obviously, it was wrong that they were going to be in the same band together, and that we learned that with Green River. They weren't going to make it.
It's only wrong if you're lying to yourself and therefore lying to your fans.
Yeah.
If you're honest with your fans, then they're like no one expected Fred Durst to walk on stage and start reading excerpts from literature. They know, he was up there doing what you expected Limp Bizkit. So you could say, I don't like him. It's
we know exactly what he did. He did it all for the nookie.
No one could call Fred Durst a hypocrite, right? At least you can't call him that. And all these other people, they're predominantly hypocrites. So the idea of going out, I remember, what was the name of, I keep blanking on it, the guitarist from Soundgarden, Kim Thile. One of the first and only times that I ever saw him talk in an interview back in the day, because I was obsessed with Soundgarden for quite a while. And they were like, hey, Kim, you don't really talk much. Your solos are amazing, and we know that your guitar parts are really an integral part of the sound of Soundgarden. Yeah, thanks. How come you don't talk much in interviews? And he says, yeah, I don't like to. Oh, are you shy? And he says, no, I just, and he just was sitting there. He sort of ummed and ahed for a second and then said, I just give me the money and let me play guitar. He's like, I don't care. I don't care about any of this. I really would prefer to not be famous. But fame comes with the money, and I want the money. So there's your answer. Talk to Chris. Just let me play guitar and just cut me the check and let me play the guitar.
Talk to Mr. Cornell, please. If you'd
and
like
the funny
that,
thing
please talk
is,
to Mr. Cornell.
I gained more respect for him as a guitar player than most any other guitar player in the scene, because I heard that. Because he was like, no, I'm not trying to change the world with my fucking guitar. I want to play dope guitar parts and be in a cool band and pay me and leave me the fuck alone. I don't have an opinion on any of this shit. At least he's real, and you go, cool, thanks for being real. Move on to the next thing.
Well, I think you said it perfectly. Is that the only
singers
time
are the problem? Singers are the worst.
Yeah,
singers are the fucking worst,
and they're fucking assholes. Yeah. All of them. I mean, Perry Farrell's not even the worst one.
Nah, I don't know why.
I can name a bassist that's also an asshole, but we'll get into that at another time. I don't even really want to do episodes on them. I don't know. You know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about, but we don't need to. There's no point going into.
It rhymes with
We're going to stay
Vicky
positive.
Dix.
The only reason to talk negatively on any subject is to flip to the positive afterwards. That's why if you're talking about all these people that say music's changed and it doesn't get all these things, you go, okay, let's talk shit on that for a minute, specifically to point out, well, here's how you should discuss it.
Yeah.
Here's the positive. Here's how you should move forward. If you're just saying this person sucks, then you're just adding to the noise of the internet, which is specifically what we don't want to do.
Well, we do have a lot of positive stuff that we're going to be getting into. I told you guys, Lollapalooza is going to take 3 episodes. We're cutting this one off at about 1995, so we have the rest of that initial run, which went from 91 to 97, and then we have the revitalization in 03. That was the tour, by the way, when my friend who was in school with me went to go interview Perry Farrell, and he was like, "Oh, it's radio. Fuck those guys." That was that one. And now I'm starting to understand why, because ticket sales sucked for that 2003 tour. I think I know why he was pissed off. And then we got to get into when they turned it into just a long weekend in Chicago, and then of course the Homerpalooza Simpsons episode. But on that note,
which is where it's going to get real fun. We're going to talk about. Oh,
I can't wait! That. It's going to be great. It's because I'm telling you, put a pin in that one quote from Perry Farrell when he's talking about how alternative is a frame of mind for people that are into peace, science, music, and art. Pinpoint peace, that's the big thing.
Right. Yeah. Excellent.
Anyway,
all right.
Wrap this up.
That being said, all right. Thank you very much for watching. Please, if you enjoyed this, please, all seriousness, click the like, subscribe, and bell notification. It really helps us out. And we're doing this because we love rock and roll. We love being able to keep talking about it and come at it from a little bit more of a deeper perspective than just adding noise to the internet on some fucking meme or something.
Yeah.
We're actually talking about the music, the people that made it, and where it came from. And on that note, we will see you next week on the History of Rock podcast. His name is Brandon. He is the DJ.
His name is Shim. He's the rock star. Class dismissed. All right, so I know exactly what I'm going to talk about in this one because it's not something that'll come up in this episode.
Right.
But when you were talking about how like Fred Durst and you were talking about how he was like the guy. Like I remember, dude, we've talked about this at ends. Like I had the red baseball cap backwards and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
As I was doing the research for this, so I'm looking at all these MTV old clips from Lollapalooza 91, 92, 93, and all of a sudden, one that popped up over on the right was Limp Bizkit Full Performance 2021 Lollapalooza. And I was like,
2021?
Yeah, they had one last year, I believe.
Oh my God, they had a Lollapalooza last year?
I think so.
Wait a minute. Right when everything was opening up again, is that right?
That's my understanding. Let me double check just to make sure that I have my facts right.
Okay. And did they headline it? That could be right.
They were.
That's not good.
God, that's a ton of fucking things. Did I get my year? Was it 2019? I swear it was 2021. Hold on.
It can't have been. Might have been 2019. It must have been 2019.
And they couldn't have been. Yeah, it was. It says live at Lollapalooza 2021 full concert.
What? Jesus. Okay. And what about it? Is he up there in his dad uniform?
That was the thing where he had he's like the Hogan stash now, and I watched all of it. Okay, not all of it.
You watched the whole show. Was it amazing?
It was pretty fucking close. I mean, it was all the shit that you wanted to hear. Like it was. They played Nookie. They played Break Stuff. They played Hot Dog. They played Rollin'. Oh God! And then
why wouldn't you? I've heard their new album is dog shit. Is that true?
I haven't heard it. I don't.
You're a Limp Bizkit fan? It's been out for ages.
Okay, I've heard it, but I haven't listened to it enough to properly judge it. Like I've kind of tuned into it a little bit. I mean, ever since Gold Cobra. I mean, even that one was kind of. Although I'll listen to that one because the way that one starts out with the down, like I'll jam on that.
Dude, Golden Cobra isn't. That's not a bad song. It's just like it kind of ends with the Significant Other was such a great album. It was such a great fucking album. Like that was even when they did Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. As soon as I read the title, I was like, okay. It's not going up any higher. Like this is probably where they're going to cash out. And they did. They toured for like 2.5 years on that record and they would have made tens of millions of dollars. But like, I remember seeing, we did shows with them. We did shows with them when they came back around the first time when Wes was back in the band. And I watched them and I was like, and we used to do, there's a thing that bands do often, I'm sure you know, at festivals where they'll drop a Rage Against the Machine riff or a Pantera riff. Yeah. They'll do a little 20 to 30 second
if somebody
thing.
comes out with a don't, like you come out to walk, man. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Limp Bizkit started doing Killing in the Name Of. And I was like, cool. Yeah. All right. And then they dropped the riff and I'm like, okay. And then they're going to go into what song? And they played the whole song, Killing in the Name Of. And I was like, that's not good. You can't do that. You can't do. No one should ever do a real cover of a Rage Against the Machine song because you're never going to do it justice. Ever. And ever. You're never going to do it justice. And it's like, just do the riff. Cool. You know, like I do the riff. I used to throw the riff in for Bulls on Parade. And then get back to your music. Like do 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Everyone, yeah, cool. They did the whole fucking song. And I remember getting to the second, like, I won't do what you tell me. And I literally put my head in my hand. I'm like, not the whole fucking song, guys.
Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me.
Yeah. I'm like, and with Fred Durst being like, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm like, you
dude,
like
that was a good Fred Durst.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I can throw it down.
Oh my.
So-
Okay, so we got it. So when we're gonna start recording these like 20-minute episodes, oh fuck yeah, we got to do a Limp Bizkit song. That's gonna be fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was when I was in Florida. There was our midday girl was also in a band. She was a lead singer, and
Yeah.
she would always talk about how like they're gonna do this and this and this, and they were like a cover band, and they got to perform at one of our events. Their final song that they did was "Killing in the Name," and they wrapped up the whole event by going "Fuck you, I won't do it," like, and then having the crowd cheer back. And I just remember all the higher ups at the station. They were like, "Well, she's never playing one of our events again." Like the fact that you think that was a good idea, it shows that you're that far off. By the way, they did play. It was Saturday during the Saturday of last year. They played the Bud Light Seltzer stage, and it looks like they were the last band before Journey.
Oh God. Oh my God.
You don't like Journey? What's wrong with Journey?
No, I love Journey. It's just I don't want to live in a world where Limp Bizkit opens for Journey. Like, where the fuck? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, rock and roll is so backwards now. That's why I'm not in a massive hurry to get back in the game. Everyone keeps asking, when are you going to go and do a tour? When are you going to release? I'm like, maybe when things start to make a bit more sense. But right now, it feels like everyone on every side of the business is trying to grab whatever money's left. And we don't talk about it in the podcast, but like now that inflation is about to kick in massively, next year people were like, oh, well, we can't go and do tours because of the pandemic. 2022, roll out the tours, go and let people buy their tickets and their t-shirts and their beer and their hot dogs until they can't afford it anymore. Because they're going to be worried about paying for rent and
thank
food.
God that we bought those Rage Against the Machine tickets like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Fuck. Dude, it was so expensive.
Yeah.
The
funny thing is, with inflation now, we'd get them at a discount if they sold them again right now. They'd be the same price, but less expensive because of inflation.
And so really quick, before we wrap up this encore too, I did a funny video. It's just the gameplay footage. Like, it doesn't have me on screen or you on screen, but it's when I shut that gate on you.
I have the clip of that from my end. Yeah. Talking about dexterity.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was fucking hilarious.
Okay. So do you got that clip up on YouTube?
It's going to go up. Let me check the schedule. It's going up later this week.
If you want, do you
Our
want
YouTube
my
has
clip
been
from my
through
side?
the fucking roof, by the way.
Awesome.
We had 10,000 views yesterday.
Damn, good work. And is that paid, or this is all organic?
All organic. We haven't
That's awesome.
spent a penny on any of this stuff.
So this goes up on OG Life, but does it direct traffic to your Brandalorian as well?
I mean, it kind of does, because obviously when I live stream over there, it's got my logo, and I'm kind of letting people know of my stuff too.
Right.
But yeah, that's the stuff that we're doing. But
yeah,
anyway.
we really need to, when you get back, we really need to work out, posting it on your channel and my channel is not the right thing to be doing. We need to post it on one channel and then share it, because we're losing we're cutting the algorithm in half, literally. My fans are not feeding your algorithm and vice versa.
Well,
so we need to, it's just a matter of how we post it.
Yeah, put it on mine.
Whichever one gets the most views, we'll pop it on that one and then feed it back to the other one. But right now we're just cutting each other off.
Well, and we can create playlists, right? So whoever isn't having it, we can be like, we can share it, like that's our playlist.
That is what we need to do. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all.
We're not doing that now.
We need to discuss. But yeah, we're ending this encore right now. All right, which then also
recording stopped
because I oops shit. Hold on, I don't want to do that.